What we also want you to question is conflict of interest.
Last month, activist Tasha Williamson said the San Diego district attorney shouldn't investigate the death of Earl McNeil.
Because the DA also used Earl McNeil as a confidential informant.
A DA spokesman wrote in an email to KPBS that the California Attorney General says there is no basis to recuse itself from reviewing McNeil's death. But Williamson and other activists maintain the DA had an ongoing relationship with McNeil. So what exactly do we know about McNeil's history as an informant? First, let's define our terms. For help, let's turn to Alexandra Nadapoff, a law professor at UC Irvine, who is an expert on informants.
So we use a lot of terms in this world: informant, cooperating witness, confidential human source, snitch. And different jurisdictions, different departments, different police, different prosecutors, different groups use those terms differently. But they all boil down to the same idea, which is that the government is trading leniency and other benefits to criminal suspects or criminal defendants in exchange for something.
Both the DA and the San Diego Police Department wouldn't release any records or information about whether McNeil was an informant. But we do know McNeil was a witness in a high-profile murder case back in 2009.
So when an informant becomes a witness, that can trigger a deeper level of disclosure and scrutiny.
Professor Nadapoff says a trial requires the government to say everything they've offered a witness in exchange for testimony. And that's what happened with McNeil. So here's what we know. While other witnesses were given cooperating individual agreements that trade reduced jail time for information, McNeil did not receive one according to court records. When McNeil testified in front of a grand jury in 2009, the prosecutor Robert Hickey asked him, "Why are you willing to come in front of this jury and tell this story today?" McNeil responded saying, "I just feel that it's the right thing." But McNeil was offered something. The DA paid almost $30,000 in expenses over 2 years for him and his family to move away from San Diego. This is all detailed in another round of testimony he gave on the same case. A lawyer named Brad Patton cross-examined McNeil and went through a long list of things the DA had paid for. "Did you receive $500 directly from somebody from the district attorney's office to be used for food and incidentals for 2 adults and 3 children, he asked. McNeil responded saying, "I'm not sure how much money it was, but I know we used to receive a payment. But like I said, I always give it to my wife because she had the bank account." Professor Nadapoff says if a witness or informant is given anything in exchange for testimony or information, that can create problems.
We permit the government to pay its witnesses, and we permit the government to pay its witnesses in the most valuable currency you can imagine, which is their own liberty.
A San Diego district attorney spokeswoman wouldn't provide an interview or comment on use of informants, quote, because of the ongoing review of McNeil's death.
Her name is Sugar. She's a gypsy vanner.
Though she doesn't look like one now, Gloria Collins was once a prosecutor for the San Diego DA's office for 25 years.
2005, I got this ranch. And I started coming in late and leaving early. My boss called me up and said, "You can't do both."
She now lives on a Ramona ranch with horses, chickens, rabbits, and dogs. She also works part-time as a defense attorney and gives expert testimony on the use of informants.
Most jurors want to know why something happened, and often an informant can give you that. I always tell jurors that using a criminal informant is tantamount to using a picnic basket with a snake in it. Sometimes you need the basket, but you need to be very careful when you stick your hand in there.
Collins says prosecutors have to disclose everything they've offered a witness. That's what happened with McNeil. His payments from the DA are documented in court records. And that's what activists point to when they question a conflict of interest. Claire Tregesser, KPBS News.